So, I had shot the sex appeal and plus the salon video, and am really proud of what I had figured out and spoke about. And then I had gone to Loblaws and bought some seaweed, came back, and am going to talk about trust. So, I always had the problem of understanding how to come about studying female psychology because psychology itself is the study towards women's mental health, and takes into context or takes into um, consideration the urban environment. And so architecture and female mysticism are clearly interconnected here. And in my life, it has gotten to the point where all I have to do to preserve the integrity of my mind, because I've solved actually like um, questions that serve me. I am supposed to think about mysticism um, and architecture. Coincidentally, I already liked architecture, and just the fact that now what I'm thinking about is on the basis of trust, I'm I feel a unified I feel a post-structural unified sense of power, um, towards my gender expression. And realistically, what have I been able to do? So I have trauma associated to having a bad mother, to say it simply. I rebuilt myself by going to see the psychologist and practicing Ashtanga. And these two practices are ones that you have to actively engage in. And why is that important? Well, because it keeps you motivated to, like, in a primal way, to then intellectualize the issue, to process it consciously. And then if you're good at thinking, you're going to get ahead eventually. And that's exactly what had happened to me, because I am good at thinking. I'm now in a post victimhood, pre thriving state. And the women I'm attracted to, like getting a girlfriend, isn't of concern to me, but growing as a person is. And like the divine feminine, the divine masculine interconnecting is a excellent way to like preserve a sense of realism when thinking about the intellect, not treating it as something that like is like something that you have to remember, but it's something that you want to have experiences through that changes you. And gender and like actual sex is like an excellent way to do that. And I'm now in a position where like I had built up the physical premise to a hair salon, and the software component that speaks to a relationship dynamic built on trust that is a professional speaking point, but then also a like civil relational speaking point. And the fact that I have a particular approach to the world and have a specific trauma led me to externalize the very process that I use to heal and work towards something that's extremely profound. I came to this all by myself. I haven't been thinking about this whatsoever, and it came to me while I was walking back from Loblaws. Women are fundamentally attracted to you on the grounds of trust, and if you can maximize the sense of trust that you have, um, towards them, which is a outcome of trust towards yourself, which itself is a symptom, or it's the outcome of having a trustful life, so a secure life. You're gonna have an extremely impassioned, erotic, sensational relationship with the woman. And the bridge that's going to allow me to study women's psychology, that of just straight up studying psychology, is studying the subject of trust in relationships and the subject of trust as a whole, because you can trust another woman can trust you, you can trust another man can trust you, but it begins at you trusting yourself. But for you to trust yourself, you have to have a process. And the thing about trust is that you have to practice it time and time and time and time again, almost like you would need some sort of work-life balance intrinsically in your lifestyle to preserve the priority that trust is the most important thing in your life, because it leads to healthy relationships, that leads to the very justification that a nation state exists. And in our legal system, the idea that trust above all leads to order is essentially complete bullshit. When you realize trust comes from within, and essentially the fact that the patriarchy, which is the most untrusting institution ever, because it's literally based on not trusting women, is the one telling you to trust, you veer away from postmodernism into like straight up structuralism, and even anything that like literally you're outside of the nation state at that point, because not even the nation state is a objective serves an objective purpose here. And so like literally what I was thinking was, you can, at this point of my work and of the idea, but of my work, take any man broken to any degree, and to whatever extent he's willing to willfully engage with the process of developing trust towards women, he will experience benefits. And it can get to the point that actually there's going to be a group of successful men who are literally the object of sex appeal in women's eyes, no matter how they appear. However, contextually, it's in a hair salon. So like obviously, hygiene cues are gonna have already been taken care of way before like any cure towards trust is made. And it's that I'm not in university right now, so what do I have to do? I have to trust myself. I have to build upon my ability to trust women, which is just to say the divine woman inside of myself, to trust my psychology, just to trust psychology, to trust the world outside of patriarchy and the nation state, so that I'm not a victim to, or scrap that little victim, totally unnecessary. And it's that if you literally exude trust, which is what I think I'm pretty sure the aesthetic misogynist, no. Descriptive playboy, no. Performative male is. They have given the sensibility that trust is present. So like this is the crazy part. Like I'm telling you straight up, it's a hair salon, there's an Ashtanga studio, you go through the process of engaging with your own psychology. You also see a psychologist, which isn't anything under my scope. You just hopefully are doing that. You're working on yourself. It gets to the point that there's a critical dialogue occurring, I guess, through the salon community, where this technology is building the dialogue that trust is important, but then you actually are veering into trusting yourself, where you actually just heal wholeheartedly. And it's like, and to heal wholeheartedly, you would have to heal a lot of things way before that. But it gets to the point where it's like you're post trauma, but you're pre literally dating wifey, future wifey. Trust is the erotic tension of a woman's passion towards you. We always talk, people in a relationship, in a male-female relation, in a gender duo relationship, there has to be emotional connection. All that means is there has to be trust. But all trust means is like literally the moment, the spontaneity of eros. And you capture this at many different levels, because you're talking about photography. I've spoken about how photography is used at these hair salons. You're at a hair salon, it's literally a matter of sex appeal. You're doing business, which is like the volatility of the market, something about the realism of capturing prey and then giving it to your family and your wife loving that and then fucking you. In a postmodern context, useless money, but you make money by working at the hair salon. And so if you want to feel close to a woman, you have to focus on your ability to trust a woman. And now it's like it's intellectual meets emotional and is truth. And in the process of finding this out, you actually have to practice the thing you're working towards, which is trust. This is that vertically integrated approach that I use when looking at the world sociologically. And so I've externalized a therapy protocol, like the very internal experience of going through the process of trusting has been externalized in this thesis, and I have the privilege of having it occur in real life, and then the privileges you get to, like, dude, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, these women, these two women, but these women that are in my life, I literally do not have an explanation for what they are anymore. They are otherworldly. The level of integrated self therapy that they exist, the plane of consciousness that they exist on is one that literally am required to practice trust onto myself to experience, because I will violate them on the grounds that I'm essentially human. They are above human. And so I'm raising my aura. And then that's actually a term by, I'm not talking about like the postmodern, the kind of current sense of aura. I'm talking about that aura from the fucking early 20th century or even pre-20th century. I forget who was writing about it, but there's just like the idea of aura. Aura is your sense of trust towards the gender you're attracted to. So you could say that I biohacked, or I hacked the process in which so Freud invented a psychotherapy, or he invented a therapy and then it's psychotherapy. I've invented my own therapy. This is a really fucked up, this is literally a de-skinned human that's somehow able to make the unconscious self conscious, while or through analyzing gender. Not so much the mind, but gender, and how gender is, how the mind plays a component in gender, but gender is also a lived experience through other people's take on yourself. Chef's kiss.